I was in the heart of it, where it all happened, in the dark of it. I'm talking all the graphic. Do I ever miss a block? Man, they all asses. I think it's heaven at the top till it all crashes. I was functioning with the rep cause I was one of them. Look, every soldier around kept a gun on them. Everything looking for them, running up on them. I got some pictures in my mind, I could never post them. It was explosive every day, we made a show of it. Tried to get rich and died trying, had to go for it. The generation off the killer made you know of it. But it's hard to be proud when you're grown from it. The clear wrong of it seemed right then. A fraternity, your brother stay fighting for respect and a disrespectful environment. Damn, the danger in the trenches was exciting. Life is the kill, at least that's how we move. And your word went nil, had to show and prove. And the stripes we approved was a stepping stool. The network grew, so did the investment grew. I was in the heart of it, where it all happened, in the dark of it. I'm talking all the graphic. Do I ever miss a block? Man, they all answer. I think it's.
This is Gangsta-Gangsta, and I am your host, Askari Abdul Mutakam, and I'm here with my co-host,
Mr. Michael Hall, better known to y'all as the Deacon.
I was better known as Baby Duck. What you talking about, some Deacon?
We gonna stop that, bro.
Okay. Also, you ain't Baby Duck no more. That's right. You Deacon. I remember the preacher talking about Deacon Michael Hall. All right, it's good to be back on the air, man. I know we can't really see the Deacon, but that's all right, man. He's in profile, and that man is sitting next to him. We can't see all that well either, but he wanted to be a little bit in profile too, so that's all right. Hey, so who we got here, Michael, man? Who's sitting here next to you?
I'm gonna let him speak for himself. Who's sitting here next to me?
Man, this Melvin Farmer, civil rights activist, former gang member, founding member of the Westside Crips with Took and them, founders with Ray for a whole lot of histories with the homies and shit. And today is Eight Trey Day, a long history where I'm glad to say back in the day, they be arming up to go make something happen. And so today they bore into a frat where they coming in, getting to see the town, networking and stuff like that. But I served 32 years in prison. I've written a book right now. Recently, I just won with others, Blessed to the Peacemakers Award for all the intervention workers and people that do the work like today, where we here today, where they got their boots to the ground when the camera not around, like the work they do. Up here, all the homies through this long legacy of the conditions we were born into and what we go through. So that's just a little bit in a nutshell, and I'm just trying to get back.
All right. So you mentioned that you wrote a book. What's the name of the book that you wrote?
Well, I wrote a book called The New Slave Ship, Three Strikes You In, March 7th, 1994, when it was enacted through signature. I was one of the first to get arrested, and I received 25 to life plus a 10-year consecutive sentence under the California Three Strikes Law. And then I was the first ever in the history of America to get released on a reversal on the three strikes conviction. And then when I got out, since I had a chance of coming home, and at that time everybody was receiving a life sentence before Romero, and they didn't have no discretion, so everybody that got convicted, you automatically got 25 to life. But anyway, I remember when I was leaving this at Lancaster, they just opening up, and the homies that was there, Kelsey Thomas, Otis Took, Diamond, James Miller, Baby D, Timmy Tucker, the whole crew that, started with us. And, through the CCOs, Blue Notes, and Vanguards and shit like that. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So when you wrote this book,
no, then when I know what I was going to say.
Okay.
So when they knew I had a chance, and this the importance of appeal. Kelsey Thomas was reading a hip hop book, and everybody in there got a life sentence or better. And he said, "Hey, homie, I got something you can add on to a supplement to your appeal." No more different than Boosie Badass got his case thrown out of federal gun court where they dismissed it. That's up under usually Brady versus Maryland or whatever. That's how I got out. And when I got out, that's when before they say, don't forget about us. The ones that had, a lot of us had got life sentences, like in my case, for $2 worth of dope. I got a life sentences for a law that was created retroactive. And then what I did to bring awareness, they just was starting on the first one ever out. So they had families to amend California 3 strikes. That was facts. This in 1998. I get out in 1998. Then you had cats, California's to amend 3 strikes. And then in 2000, I wrote and helped write a 2003 strikes initiative with Valerie Monroe and another guy where we actually wrote a law and went through the political action committee then. But that's what inspired me to write a book to bring awareness to the 3 strikes NUN law. And from there, I've been an activist for restorative justice since then. That was one of the pivotal reasons for me to get into civil rights and giving back to the community in a full, wholeheartedly way.
Right. So, I was going to ask you about the book. When you wrote the book, you were out. You had already gotten out from the penitentiary, and when you were just explaining that you were inspired by the fact that you had gotten 3 strikes for, you say $3 worth of dope.
No, I was inspired behind the homies who I had left behind. And they asked me when I was walking out, since they knew I had was getting released, which was I did 32 years in prison, and the only one that I seen get out, basically just almost get out, was Geronimo Pratt. Other than that, I know everybody that don't went up in there. So for me getting from out there, they thing was, because it was such an unjust law, I was in there for $2 worth of dope found in somebody's house where they did a illegal no knock notice, and that's what got me a reversal, not a remand. A reversal is when you go home, the fruit of the poisonous tree. So when I got out, I didn't even have parole and nothing. All of them was there, and that's when that happened, and I started fighting 3 strikes. Then
Right.
it went to civil rights. That's when 1999. Oh, these are see talk being corrupt. These are actual cases. It was first. I do murder also, whether it be friend, family, or foe in this game. So when it comes to the police, we don't did cases to bring awareness to first Margaret Laverne Mitchell, the homeless lady, shot over a shopping cart. She had a screwdriver. We was the Margaret Laverne Mitchell Justice for Margaret Laverne Mitchell Coalition. That's Earl Afari Hutchinson and me and Nadia Ali. Then it was Taisha Miller Steering Committee. That's the girl got shot 19 times in Riverside. Then it was Latasha Harlins. That's the little girl that got killed for stealing out the store at Empire Market. Then it was Prince Jones. That was the young man that was a Howard University student in Washington, D.C., and the police trailed in 3 states. And then we did the Death Row 10 when we went to doing bringing awareness to the death penalty, because as you know, everybody off death row now. And so that's something that I don't seen, and glad that they all got out. You got guys like Eagle Tretch, a whole lot of them died up in there. So those are the type of things I like to talk about. As a lifer, my motto is to always reach
Right.
back to those that I left behind. That's one of my primary focus.
Okay. So now your motivations, whatever they may have been, um, ultimately led you into being a civil rights activist, an organizer, and actually putting, you got work that stands behind you. Nobody has to like wonder what the work is, because your work it speaks for itself. But let me ask you this question: um, when when you're the founder of Westside Crips, you one of the generals from Eight Trey Gangster. You go to prison for $2 worth of crack. How does that feel? Like what's going on in you from being at that top level to someone like uh dumping you in the penitentiary over somebody else's crack? What was going on in your mind when that was happening?
Nothing. I've been arrested 60 times, 40 times before I was 18. And so a lot of shit I don't got away with. And it's a lot of shit I don't got caught for.
Right.
What went through my mind once I got arrested up just say the California three strikes law, when I knew I was facing a life sentence, to settle me down, I just looked at it like, it is what it is. I got caught. I was more concerned on working on my appeal, because about the one thing about it, I knew it was illegal and I hadn't broke the law. Right. So I didn't have no, I'm frightening moments. And particularly when this happened, because the laws were so lenient, and I didn't even know at the time it was a three strikes law. Now that's when you could have seen how I felt, because I didn't even know the law. They had been trailing me 90 days. Well, you might have been incarcerated, but they had made a task force for jackers. Because out them 40 times I was arrested before I was 18, probably 35 of them was for robbery. That's what we do. So that's how that was going on then, bro. And so I didn't have no feelings about the three strikes. I didn't even know it. They didn't even have no reason. I wasn't even selling dope. I had made a lick where I had robbed for 40 keys of dope. 40 keys. Me and my nigga Dano, rest in peace, from ETG. That's what we do. That just went on down the line. So I didn't have no reason to even be selling no dope. But I was targeted because of the shit going on. We had the riots going on that had happened with Eight Trey Gangster. They came and got me, Mad Bone, Big Stag, uh, 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 Big Bam from Hoover, uh, uh, and some more from Hoover, and we wasn't even there. So, you know, that's what I didn't feel shit
Okay, that's
like
interesting.
that.
So, let me ask you about that. So when the riots happened, so LAPD came and sucked you and the other homies up. What did they suck you up for? What,
No,
what was
no,
the
no. This
charge?
would make it cold. I was in prison when the riots happened, and they called me up front to the captain office and put me in the hole. And then they told me why I was there, because of the riot shit. So I wasn't even there, but I got right out, and they found the shit from the Western surplus behind the homie's backyard over the homegirl house. And all of us went to CIM Southeast or whatever that shit. And then when they found out who was over there, they split us up, and I got put back because we had slipped through. So yeah, I wasn't even there, but that's what was going on in there. But Eight Trey Gangsters always had a reputation for getting into it with the police over here, because when we was over here, even before that, Tookie and them, this is the exact park where they was at. 80% of that took place right here, where you got Raymond Washington, Tookie, Mac Thomas, and James Compton, Erskine. You had them all here. Donna Archie, Bub. All the history pretty much started right here. This wasn't even here, the things that they had here.
You say
So
right here. Where is right here?
with St. Andrews Park,
Okay,
When the
West.
Crips started, the West Side Crips only lasted from 1971, 72, and on this side of town, this Tookie side. On the east side was Raymond's side. In Watts, it was Mac Thomas. And in Compton, it was Little. That's the four. That's the Mount Rushmore of this shit. That's it. And now on the west side, you got, they didn't have gangs over here. They had cliques. The Smacks over in the hundreds, which ended up being the hundreds. They were at Henry Clay, Cutes and all us at Horseman, and John Muir, you coming to be a Brim, and then you got Fauché, Bret Hart Hoover, Good Bethune, then you got Fremont, what's over there, Gompers, and so forth. And that was the lineup. But over here, you had cliques. You had cliques over here. And that merged into the west side on this side of town. So everything started because Tookie was in that. When you see the pictures of Tookie, Melvin Hardy, Erskine, uh, 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 who all was on that picture? Lil James Compton, Buddha, that Tookie talk about a lot. They got killed in the garage where he say where the blue rag. All that took place where they used to meet up here. And when I was like, that was 69. So I've been up here since I was 12 years old at that time. And so as it went on, I knew them before the Crips wasn't out. So I was fortunate, or infamously, because joining up with that shit show costs you a lot
Damn
at the
show, damn
end
show.
of the day.
So let me document some of this history that you're talking about here. So you came around, you said, because I know when you started, you were talking about that you was one of the people who was with Tookie when they had West Side Crips. So you was there at that time. What role did you play in that formation, West Side Crips, or what was your role in West Side Crips?
When we West Side Crips, when you see Tookie, you see us. Tookie now, well, this what opened the door on the West Side. When the Robert Ballou murder happened, that's the Palladium. That was March 1972. That's when the killing started. Now, 71, 72, 70, they had brims back in 69. See, brims was already, they used to wear khakis and brim. So, in 1971, my role now, after that murder happened, and all of them, Justin Baycott, Ricardo Sims, Bub, Bub, uh, Big Bob, which was Hawk. He had a fight with Raymond Washington. That's how they met Tookie. That's how all that started at Sportsman Park at a record hop. But now, when it comes to my relationship with Tookie and the role in the West Side Crip, and not only me, we're unified. You're talking about guys that O'Neal Brown went and founded 111. You had Melvin Hardy and Odie that founded Block. You had Monkey Man and them that founded Underground. You got us that founded Rayford, Frog, and that was Eight Trey. But when it come to West Side, it was Hillbilly, Hot Dog, Frog, Cute, Rusty, Mouse, the penetration, Michael Conception, O'Neal Brown, Melvin Hardy, Warlock. That was the ones. And then you had the East Side, Tony Stacy, Ricky Silas. A lot of guys that died young at a young age, starting in 72. So now, after the Ballou murder happened, and by the way, all the suspects They used to be a roof right here where they had the camp section, ping pong. We was sitting there. That was in 72, March. I'm still 14. Homicide jumped off white men, and they arrested quite a few of them from here. And the last one that turned himself in, well, did, was Justin Baker. Then, to make a long story short, when Tookie got shot in Compton, after he got out and they started running the Red House, he called me, Cuse, and Rusty. Uh, and that should tell you about what we do. Because once that murder happened, the younger guys assumed because it was the leather coats we already, and that's when the killing actually took off. Because I never seen Tookie, Raymond, Washington, none of them. They wouldn't have lasted a day. I could when we was getting caught. Oh, they was when they were getting caught and sentenced for murder from 71 to 75, because that's when they made something that affected every American that they didn't have, and that's the juvenile fitness here. That's how they came up, because of the behavior between 1971 to 1975. In fact, they had us talking at the Supreme Court because of the behavior. So after that,
The behavior of who? Specifically individuals on Westside Crips, or just the
no, at
behavior
this
in general?
time, it's behavior. When you look it up, see everything I'm explaining, you can look up under the law. And you'll see in 1975, they had to make a choice in the Supreme Court between uh, public safety and rehabilitation. When you look up Stacks, the movie, when the last one, when the Crips went on the field and you see it, let me tell you what was going on that day, and I was with Tookie. This in 72, 73. It's me, Tookie, and Blackie. And we sitting at the back end, Took in the front, Blackie next to him. I'm sitting in the back sniffing glue. They sitting up front. And by the end of the day, because everybody was at Watch Stacks, which was in Watts, and that ended at 3. But I end up down there with Tookie now, and that was the day Rufus Thomas and all of them asked the Crips to come clear the field, and a whole lot of shit went on there. But when you look up the history of it, they say even though this is supposed to be, and it only costed $1, it's supposed to have been for to fight police brutality because of the riots, watch riots and all that. They say their number one fear was this young group of men called the Crips. So back to the law. Behind that, they came up with the age limit to where you can be tried as a juvenile, and that's how they changed it between that area. So you were getting 2 years for a murder. They didn't have no such thing as a home invasion. A lot of times we were doing carjackings where we take your rims, your tire. Once we take the car, the show pipes, the donuts, that was a hustle. We didn't have to, you had to take your money.
Let me ask you this. So the behaviors that you're talking about, right? So, by the time I came around, the war had been well established. It'd been going on for a while.
What war?
I'm talking the war between Eight Trey Gangsters and 6-0 have been well established, right? So that behavior is well known to people of my generation. That behavior you're talking about, behavior that predated this when Cripping first started. What was going on? Without specificity, what was going on that caused people in Sacramento to say the number one fear that we have for public safety is these young men who call themselves Crips?
Not only that was for watch stacks. See, that wasn't legally. Now legally, the term was young men. They didn't have the term bloods then. They didn't. This before color. They had colors, but they hadn't had the term bloods yet. They were individual. Van Ness boys, Pyrus, Athens Park boys, Denver Lanes, AC Deuces, Chain Gang, the Inglewood family, Denver Lanes, Walnuts, Figueroa boys, and so forth. But they always had gangs. Before that, Manchester Park boys, Slausen's businessman. And so that's how that was going on. And that's how that was going. So before that, here's the difference. It was a very smooth crew of us on the west side, on this side of town. And when we were unified, everybody was unified. So when you hear our stories, they're not gonna be the same sitting next to somebody where their story gonna be Crip on Crip.
Right.
So it's gonna be a two different term because I don't see 5 generations. Ain't too many people I'ma not know that don't got knocked down. Here, Compton, I don't been through the whole gamut. So it's a different ball game when you don't made it this far, and then like when the 60s and the Eight Trey, that put me in exile because people forget if we all sprung from that seed. I don't did a dot of dirt with the OGs. So what I'm gonna do now, and really by then, uh, 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 at that age, 79, now I'm starting to go to prison, Raymond Washington. So a lot of breakup happening. And then the next generation come. Everything up to then, you didn't have Crip on Crip. It wasn't no such thing as that. We was unity, unified. Now you have uniformity. Everybody might dress the same, look the same, do all that shit, but they ain't getting along. Crip don't mean that. It don't make no difference if you wear red, if you wear blue. That ain't gonna make you get it through. It don't matter. It don't matter now. So our era was a little different then. Another thing, they sit, they glorify. Our era, there was no such thing as a snitch. What you gonna tell about when you getting 2 years for a murder? Let me tell you, my buddy killed Valerie Briscoe Hooks. That's a track star where it says her brother's death, Melvin, inspired her. A lot of people don't know. A boy named Howard Morrison, that was Vamp. He was in the ninth grade up at Locke. We over there at Locke back then. He was Cute 102. Yeah, Cute 102. Back street, front street just was started. But anyway, a stray bullet killed Valerie Briscoe Hooks, brother running, and she'll tell you she know who I am. And anyway, he went and told his mother he thought he killed somebody. She took him to juvenile hall. He turned himself in. He stayed there a year. We were in there together. This right before Salty uh, get killed a little while down the line from Compton later on in 76. It's about 74, 73, 74. And in the court, they didn't know what to do with him, even though he said he did and everything, because they didn't have nothing that they had to say what was the guideline, because it was for rehabilitation. That's how come we could go in and out 40 times between that age. They didn't know it was something new. You see how long it don't last it. You see how long and how far it don't spread it. And from then on, I watched that then. So by the time they caught on, man, the game had changed. It was ruthless. They killing on campus. They taking it just ain't. It just they controlled that at the time, and the void had been made because the Black Panthers out here, the us and all those organizations and all that, Black Coast or whatever, they had been infiltrated. So that left area and over here void, and it was the younger ones' responsibilities to do what they do. So Tookie and them never went to jail. None of them. Raymond went to prison in about 72. Then he got out. In fact, I was with Raymond probably about 2 hours before he got killed. A lot of people that was there know that. And then I was with Tookie, where him and Blackie, back like when I told you we was at the stacks. Now I'm getting out in '79. I don't went to jail for a jewelry store robbery. And I'm seeing Tookie since I'm getting out because he got arrested maybe a week later and he never came back. And I told him, man, I think this dude telling. We didn't have the word. And Blackie was back there. He was smoking some PCP, had his overalls on, and he was smoking, curling the bar. And Blackie was right there. And he ended up getting immunity and another murder of one of the ones that was took. And then you don't hear the two stories of like him because it's not a glorified or glamorified in this life. It cost him is a lot of time. You think you only hurt yourself. At my age, you get too old to work, too young for Social Security, and you think you can retire out here. But that ain't how this shit go. Now it's coming down, but once you can't engage,
like you talking about, Michael, he spent a lot of years in the penitentiary. I spent a lot of years in the penitentiary. There's a whole slew of individuals who came after you and sacrificed either their actual lives or their physical lives in the penitentiary, all for Eight Trey Gangster. So what is it that you feel in yourself? I kind of asked Bonnie Williams, Tookie's wife, this question too. Like, but what is it you feel in yourself about being one of the progenitors of this thing that twisted and turned into this other thing that cost so many people their lives? What do you feel about? And before I say that, let me preface it by saying this. I too am an organizer, and my position about gangs is that there is nothing illegal or wrong about gangs themselves per se. Like everybody got gangs, no matter whatever you call them. Judges, DAs, police, doctors, lawyers, fraternities. Everybody got something where they group folks together. So, but I'm not talking about the gathering. I'm not talking about the love that people have for each other that they grew up with. I'm talking about the activities that have morphed into this kind of thing where basically cats is going out and smoking folks from living on another block, and enjoying it and making a culture out of it. And what do you say about that? Like, what is it you feel about having been a progenitor of that activity?
well, we're not the protectinator because we can't, if they parents can't tell them nothing. I'm just a product of being right where it happened at. I was conceived through sin and born in corruption. I don't hold no responsibility because what you referring to me, I would assume from what you personally knew then. And now you have social media where you got rappers, actors, entertainers, and athletes that monopolize the screen, and every one of them claiming Crip, Blood, GD, Vice Lord, Santa Claus,
Right.
King Shit of Turd Island, and all that other game goofy ass shit. So
Right.
you get caught up in what the depictions you see and get characters mixed up with characters. A character, a motherfucker that oftentimes exaggerate, tell stories of such a horrid proportion that it look comical. And most of the things that you see on there, and I know them all from WAC 100 to Big U, to the X440s, all of them, Boss Talk, Cam Capone, Vlad TV, Revolt, all that. I've been on all that over the years. I opened BET. I was on Revolt in 2014 with Puffy. And so I don't look at it like that. I understand what it is, but in our era, when you signed up for this, it is what it is. Now, it's 50 years later. All I can do is say, hey, I want to try to make them go from tax burdens to taxpayer. All it is for us to do at our age is try to reach back and give them the wisdom to make a difference where you can come back together. Same game with Michael Conception. That's Tookie's. Tookie was married to Michael Conception's sister, which is Michelle, and that's the original West Side. And then after the, I told you earlier, the Robert Ballou murder happened at the Palladium. This the next murder happened. Michael Conception, Barefoot Pookie, and my boy LaFell Frierson, who would get out after this murder and commit some more. They killed the mayor of Inglewood's brother, Mayor Butts. That's who Snoop and him and do the Super Bowl. He the mayor right now. But in 1972, this is one of the first murders. After that, that was now I'm 15. I was 14. Now I'm 15 in 1 month. And we still Westside Crip at this time. This 1972. There ain't no gangs. It's still Westside Crip. And that's when Douglas Green got killed. And I can say his name because it was all big news, because now the Crips don't commit a murder and they're writing in the newspaper the Sentinel, the Cripping gang. And it looked like a group of young kids carrying canes and gloves, and it might be the Crippling gang. That's
All right, it's getting dark. I got one last question, and answer it really quickly if you can. All right, have you ever seen the Bastards of the Party, and what you think about it if you have?
I ain't looked at nothing since Superfly, the original, but I know about my nephew Bones that's been in there. That's my boy from Athens Park.
Yeah.
I read. That's my little. Hey, that's my little brother.
Hey, we love having you on there, big homie, man. We appreciate you
Oh
coming on.
man, we gonna kick it a little better. I've been doing what I do. We having fun, man.
Yeah. We need to get together in person, man, to get this have a little conversation. I got so many questions I gotta ask you, not on air. I mean, just the stuff we like when we get together. I got so many questions I want to ask you.
You can't really say what really happened because they got children and stuff, grandparents. It's hard. You gotta like bite your tongue and do what it is. So do what we do, man.
Yeah. I was in the heart of it, man. I was in the heart of it, where it all happened, in the dark of it. I'm talking all the graphic. Do I ever miss a block? Man, they all asses. I think it's heaven at the top till it all crashes. I was functioning with the rep cause I was one of them.